Yeah, there it is. One for the thumbnail, the algorithm. The growlgorithm, isn't it, Biz? Look at it. Okay, so in this video, we're going to discuss how we can take what we learn in a hotel, and I'm going to explain to Biscuit how Biscuit can put it into her business and see if she learns anything. So the problem I find with a lot of businesses is the customer service isn't great, and the temptation is to use technology to become more efficient, but it's often at the expense of putting in the effort to make a really good impression with your customers. And I sometimes get the impression that customers are seen as quite like time heavy, like a time sap. And it's kind of more about why would you spend time on customers when you can go for volume? And I tend to think, so for me, the opportunity is to sometimes go the other way. And I think that the more face time or the improved bedside manner or the improved customer service that you can offer makes a big difference because it's so rare. Like, I think that's the opposite. That's all I'm saying. So with this, I think where most people would rather go for like, what's a way that I can automate my customer onboarding so I don't have to do anything, it just all happens automatically. I understand that efficiency, but I would be looking to go, well, if everyone is doing that, and I've experienced that and it's pretty disappointing, I'd like to go, well, how can I put back the humanity so that they really enjoy it? And that's what we're going to talk about today, isn't it, Biscuit? So Biscuit is in favor of AI. She loves automation. She can use Zapier, I can't. And so she wants to outsource everything because she's got things to do. She's got treats to eat. She's got naps to have. I'm talking rubbish. Before you arrive, I'm going to tell you like what we did in the hotel here. And then I'm going to say that these are things that you could be doing in your business. So it's like a sort of back and forth tip thing. And Biscuit's going to play the role of a designer. You're more into branding, aren't you, Biscuit? So you don't do as much design, it's more strategy. So, am I boring you? Here's 3 things you're doing wrong in your customer onboarding. Okay, there's your hook. Open it up. Cause like, what's going to happen? Okay, so let's hold you like that. As a hotel, we would send a welcome message that had the check-in times. And I can find a picture of like that. We used to leave this little card in the room which had it all. Now, what we would do is before you arrive, this is how to onboard people. So in the hotel, we would wish you a safe journey. We'd send all the information in advance. And we would also offer dinner recommendations so that when you arrive, we could book dinner for you. And the whole point of all of that was if we're able to know that in advance, it gives us time to prep it all so that by the time you arrive, everything that's important to you is taken care of. So that if that is getting in special spelt Roman bread, ordering in newspapers, setting up a travel cot, whatever it might be, we can do it. So what happens, Biscuit, we're going to think about your design agency and what you could do to improve it, okay? Currently with Biscuit, you just book on a form, you get an automated response, and then you kind of fill out a questionnaire. I think it's pretty boring. But when she's done that, she puts you into she tags you and puts you on her email list, and then you just get, is it a booking form? Yeah, you're sent a booking link and then you get a meeting with her. But her whole thing is, I want efficiency. So she's busy and she's like, I don't want to hop on a call until I've sort of vetted you to know, are you worth it? Do you have money? Do you have the budget? See? So I would recommend as a designer, the things you could do is, same thing, send a welcome email when the project starts, letting them know how much you're looking forward to doing the project. And then you're going to send an email with the project overview and all the key dates and milestones so that they understand what's to expect. I'll go back over this in a minute. And then you're going to offer them resources and tools to get started. So if we look at a kind of onboarding thing there, we're mimicking what the hotel does. So the welcome email is like a welcome message, great, we're looking forward to working with you. Really sets the tone, everyone's happy with that. It has when it's going to start. So they kind of know like that's the same as when you check in, when you're going to arrive with us. Are you listening? No. Luckily, it's on YouTube, so you can subscribe to this channel. I'll send the link to Biscuit. You can subscribe. Biscuit, you going to subscribe? Probably. So Biscuit will subscribe and she'll learn. Let's carry on. The second thing, in the hotel option, I was like wishing you a safe journey. In the designer option, it's going to be sharing a project overview with key milestones. So milestones should have been the pun I should have linked on there. But effectively, you're setting the tone so they know what to expect. So again, if we were looking at the hotel thing, we would probably even, and now this is what I would do, I would work out where are they coming from, and I would have probably had a playlist of stuff they could listen to, along with recommendations for where they could stop along the way that would be relevant to what they have. So if they have a dog, then I'd recommend places to stop with the dog. If they had kids, whatever, and then that way, it's just light recommendation. It's just trying to make the journey as enjoyable as possible. And if I have a playlist of stuff they can listen to, then that's quite fun. When we're onboarding clients from a business or design point of view, Biscuit needs to share the project overview so the client understands what's going on. She needs to share the key dates with the client so that they know what they can put in their diary, and then key milestones so they can understand what are the stages and what's going to get done and in which order. So what this does is it anticipates any kind of questions they might have in advance so that they're reassured. Then for the hotel, we'd offer dinner recommendations that we can book in advance. And for Biscuit, she should really be offering some sort of tools and resources to help them get started. So this is where you might record a video explaining your process, or you might offer kind of, for example, if you want them to do a mood board, you might have a guide of how to do that in Pinterest with some examples. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get them involved in the project, but in a way that's light touch and easy for them. And we're trying to give them tips so that they can contribute and start to feel ownership of the project, but we're giving them in full guidance. So we're not doing it in a way that means that we have to keep setting up Pinterest boards or going back and forth on an email to explain it. We record one video that, if our process involves creating a mood board in Pinterest, we'll walk them through it. So when they start the meeting, they have the mood board created in a way that we need, which has saved us time and has allowed them to feel involved in the project. And that would be before you arrive. So the whole point, to summarize, is before you arrive, you're looking to basically explain everything so they're clear and make them feel excited about the project they're going to take or the stay they're going to have. And that's all we're trying to do. The next stage is what happens when they arrive. So what we would do in the hotel, obviously we'd greet them warmly, collect their bags, and offer them welcome drinks. We'd then check them in, make sure they had everything they need, and we would go over the rules for while they're staying. So that would include food, so what time breakfast is, what time dinner is, any amenities like facilities, if they need laundry done, it's here, parking, room keys, all that stuff, and then what time checkout is. All of that sets the tone. They all feel very heard and understood, and they can ask questions, and it removes any kind of confusion during the stay, which is massively important. From a design point of view, you want to have a kick-off meeting, so that helps you discuss the project, what's going to be done. You'd usually probably share some sort of welcome pack, which has got all the details in it. Then you want to clarify the communication guidelines and response times. So again, this is more like we don't answer the phone or respond to emails outside of 9 to 5 office hours and at weekends. But if we do, if you do message us, say after 5 o'clock on a weekday, we'll try and get back to you within 24 hours. And then we're going to review the deliverables, the timelines, the fees, and any policies before we start. So what this means is, if you're thinking like a hotel owner, you're starting now to clarify basically what are the rules that are going to be while you're staying here, like timings, and if you have any concerns or questions, how you can contact us and when we're available. In a hotel, when you check in and they give you all this, it's super easy. But for designers, the temptation to get on with like the creative bits means you often rush this. And what I'm trying to encourage people to do is, if you get this right now, then it will often save any kind of mistakes or confusion later on. So for example, let me put Biscuit to sleep this side, 1 second. Okay. So for example, response times are a big one. If you're doing a meeting with a client, you want them to get back to you pretty quickly so that you can carry on. And if they're slow at that, there you go. If you're slow at that, it can hold the project up. So what we do is, in this stage, we set all the rules and expectations so they know how to communicate. And in the same way as you'd put like a little card in the room to reiterate what you've just said, the point being is that sets the tone for the project. So again, when you stay at a hotel, you know what the rules are while you're staying there. When you work a project, you know what the rules are while you're working the project. So during your stay, again, so we've gone before you arrive, at the beginning, and then during. So during your stay at a hotel, naturally a hotel will check in to make sure everything's okay and you're happy. They will often sometimes add little extra personalized things. So if you go out and they do your room, they might leave a little note, or they might leave chocolates on your pillow, for example, and they'll respond promptly to any request you have. The designer can do the same thing. So for example, you can send regular project updates and check in with people to make sure everything's okay. You can send personal touches. So this might be sketches from a project you've been doing, or maybe a time lapse of what you've been working on. And you can address any concerns and questions. So checking in to make sure they're all happy and they know I understand and they understand what's going on. One of the biggest areas where this became really apparent to me, and I wouldn't have noticed this if I wasn't a client, but effectively, you'll all know this, like at the beginning of the project, the client will do, like they'll pay the deposit, they'll sign the contracts, all these kind of things. And then nothing will happen because we as creatives will go off and start doing research, mood boards, sketching out ideas. And you have this timeline of like the client side, they've done all of that. And then we're waiting and then we go and do loads of work. And then it comes to the first meeting and they've had nothing. So they've just paid the money. And now we're in the first meeting. And it's the same thing I've talked about in restaurants. If you're left sitting down for too long and no one comes to see you, you feel slighted. And this is where clients will feel a bit like, well, we've paid the money, now what's happening? No one's told us. And understandably, creative people are just too busy doing the work. But if you check in and you share what you've been working with, not only does it manage their expectations of what to expect, they actually start to look forward to that meeting. And we all know that first meeting is the meeting where you're hoping to sell in big ideas or your most exciting ideas. So that one's got to go really well because it can often set the tone for the project. But me, and along with a lot of you, I'm sure, make that mistake of you get so involved with the creative, you kind of neglect the client. And then there's a mismatch of expectations so that they come to the meeting a bit frustrated, feeling left out of the process. And you come to it like super energized, and the energy discrepancy causes issues. So this kind of approach makes a big difference as far as if I'm checking in and thinking like a hotel and letting them know what I've been up to and maybe sending the odd personal note or a little voice note, that makes them feel involved. It makes them feel understood. And that's a massive, as far as dominating the project and doing well, that makes a massive difference. Oh, okay. You've had a drink. Good to go. Check back in. Good. So that's during your stay. Next, at the end of your stay. So when you're about to leave, the hotel will remind you of the rules and they'll go over your bill and go through everything to make sure you're happy with what you've been billed for. A common bit would be someone's checking out, they finish breakfast, and just as they go upstairs, you just go, would you like me to get your bill ready? Because obviously checkout is in an hour and we don't want you to be late. And they'd go, oh yes, please, that'd be great. And that means you're checking in, you're reminding them that the checkout is at 10. They're aware of that now. They go back up to their room to start packing. So when they come down, the bill is all done. So I'm preparing the bill while they're packing, everyone's aligned. Then when they're ready to go, you go and help them with their bags. And you check the room, make sure they've not left everything behind. And often if their car needs to go, you've probably moved other cars out of the way, I would have done. And what this does is when they pay the bill, you've put their bags in the car, they've had a wonderful stay, their car's ready to go, and they leave full, happy, relaxed, and it's really worked for them. That's what you want to do. And this involves communication, anticipation, and all of those things to make a difference. So again, if I was a designer and I was advising Biscuit and saying, I know you want to automate everything, but sometimes we need to put the personal touch back in. This is what I'd advise Biscuit. I'd say, Biscuit, you need to conduct a wrap-up meeting where you review the deliverables, you go over the final invoice, confirm the details, let them know how you're going to be packaging up the assets once everything has been paid, and then you're going to make sure you're available for post-project support. And then once you've done that, you're going to check in again to make sure everything was okay. In the same way as in after someone's who had stayed with us, I'd try and follow up to make sure they were happy, maybe ask for a review or feedback. It's the same approach. And if we do that, then we ensure that they feel appreciated and everything has been cleared and there's no confusion. And so for me, that's a big one. Now, the final stage is going to be after the stay. So they've stayed, they've gone home, a few weeks have passed, and you're kind of like, right, what do we want to do to make sure that they maybe want to come back or we can maximize the client experience? So from a hotel point of view, you're going to follow up for feedback and a review, as I just kind of said. You might want to put them on a mailing list, or you want to send offers or discounts, or, if you refer a friend, there's a sort of loyalty scheme. But generally, you're looking to try and keep in touch and try and find opportunities to invite them back for things they might enjoy. This is where the repeat business comes in and is perfectly logical in a hospitality business. Yet I also know from being in a creative business, we don't really think like this. So from a creative point of view, you want to ask for feedback and a testimonial. You want to be in touch to see if there's any way that you can help. You might have ideas, ways that you can help them. And then you might also want to offer, slight discounts on new services you offer, or maybe there's like a referral scheme where if they refer a customer to you, they get like a thank you gift or something. The point being is, if you're thinking like a hotel and you're keeping in touch, and you're giving them reasons to work with you again, there's a chance that would happen. And I know that for a very long time, I would see like a branding project as like it's a one and done, and now I've got to find a new client. I never really thought about, well, actually, I can still support and be of value to that client if I find ways that are meaningful to them. So if I find opportunities for promotions, or I come up with ideas, or I help them implement their branding on their social media or design some merch, I can be of value and I can extend that relationship, but it doesn't feel like it's weighted too much in my favor and it's opportunist. It's very much like I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be of service is the way to put it. And that makes a massive difference. And that would be how I would sort of take learning from a hotel or hospitality business and bring it back into my own business, using the design business as an example. So if you found that useful, you can be like Biscuit, you can subscribe, and you can look at the link underneath, and I'll send you a guide on how to do that with prompts of what you could kind of do to get you thinking. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. Bis, they're going to go now. Bisc, you can say goodbye. Yeah, say goodbye. Bye-bye.